Liebe Zuschauerinnen, liebe Zuschauer,
Dear viewers, dear listeners, welcome to a reading from the great work of Revelation. This is my word, Alpha and Omega, the Gospel of Jesus, the Christ revelation which true Christians the world over have come to know. This revelation of Christ contains the authentic life, thought, and activity of Jesus of Nazareth. He himself, the Christ of God, revealed to us during this great time of change details of his mighty presence in Jesus of Nazareth, in the prophetic word through his teaching prophetess and emissary Gabriele. He said to this, I am the Christ of God, the way, the truth, and the life. I am the truth, and the truth which I am shines in countless facets into this world. From these facets of the truth, today we will again read to you, dear viewers, dear listeners. In chapter 20, we read the words of Jesus from a widely unknown gospel, which, followed by the words of Christ himself via the prophetic word in our time, are explained, corrected, and deepened. The title is The Return of the 72. The 72 returned joyfully after some time, saying, Lord, even the devils are subject to us in your name. And he said to them, I saw Satan fall from heaven like lightning. Behold, I have given you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing will harm you. However, do not rejoice that the spirits are subject to you, but rather rejoice that your names are written in heaven.
Christ explains, corrects, and deepens the word. Not all men and women, who I referred to as disciples in the sense of the word, remained faithful to the law of God. Some succumbed to the temptations of this world. They returned with empty hands. You should not cling to the number 72 either. See this number as a term that means there were many. All those whom I sent out and who returned again were once among my followers. All those who remained in the Spirit of truth worked from the Spirit of the Father and defeated the Satan of the senses in many people, thus leading them to a higher life. With the words, even the devils are subject to us in your name, they meant the Satan of the senses, for many to whom they had brought the teaching of life accepted it and also complied with it. So it was as I walked in the earthly garment over this earth. Those whom I had sent out and who lived in me, the life, put an end to the unlawfulness. Their so-called enemies had no power over them, for they were protected by the law of life, because they complied with it. So it is at the present time. All those who resist the satanic will consciously be the children of God who possess the earth. Their names are already now written in heaven. Through my power, they will attain what is still unimaginable for many people: the transformation of their human ego and the transformation of this world from the satanic to the divine. Everything will serve them, the earth and all that is on the earth, for it is they who possess the earth in my name. After some epochs have passed in the kingdom of peace, the people in the kingdom of peace will be of one spirit because they have overcome the satanic in their souls and live consciously in me, the Christ. Through them, I will accomplish more works of love on earth.
Christ continues to reveal the following. Although the mantle and the atmosphere of the earth will be mostly cleansed by the heavenly bodies and the seas, some regions of the earth, called earth spots, which are of coarser substance, will still remain. There are consolidated centers of negative energies. These still existing negative energies are remainders from past ages in which the darkness operated on the earth, and remainders of the atomic processing, remainders of chemical substances, and all other negativities that man inflicted upon the earth. These energies will remain inactive for a long time because they will be covered over by lava. In the new atmosphere, too, regions will remain in which aspects of human and animal suffering are still stored. These regions will remain inactive for just as long as the earth spots on earth are inactive. At the end of the kingdom of peace, with its finer matter, before this transformation of the earth takes place, Satan, that is, the demonic powers, with the help of these remaining negative energies, will be allowed once more to measure himself against man and against the earth. Once more, the eternal in me, Christ, will give the adversary the opportunity to recognize himself before he puts himself in chains in the spiritual fields of evolution. The demonic beings will fight until the end to save their territory. God Father in me, the Christ, will also give these, his children, once more the chance for self-recognition and change. Those souls which do not use this last opportunity will have to build themselves up again in the spiritual fields of evolution, because the particle structure of their spiritual body will have been damaged. Such a deformed soul body thus needs regeneration through the spiritual forces of consciousness of the animals, plants, or even minerals. The soul of the earth will also release itself from the earth, however, only after many energetic light years. This will take place in a similar way as when the soul of man leaves the material body and goes into the fine material realms. Man calls this process the death of the body.
Through the prophetic word of Gabriela, the Christ of God continues to reveal the following. When the soul of the earth frees itself from the earth's mantle, the latter will burst apart. That will then be the dissolution of the earth. However, until this all-powerful process of transformation takes place, the earth will still have much to bear. Man, as well as the earth, will experience still many things. In the statement, however, do not rejoice that the spirits are subject to you. I want to correct the word spirits. 2,000 years ago, and in later centuries, too, burdened souls were called spirits. Nature beings and inexplicable phenomena were also described as spirits. However, these are energies that have taken spiritual form, which are invisible to man. Reality is the eternal spirit, the all-permeating life from which the substances come forth. The beings that have taken form, such as spirit beings, nature beings, animals, plants, minerals. The spirit is the eternal, pure, all-permeating life, which sustains spirit beings, human beings, animals, plants, minerals, yes, everything.
We continue to read in the Gospel of Jesus. In that hour, Jesus rejoiced in spirit and said, I thank you, Holy Father of heaven and earth, that you have hidden these things from the wise and clever and have revealed them to the unknowing. Yes, all Holy One, for so it seems good in your eyes. Christ explains, corrects, and deepens the word. In this context, the word wise means those people who deem themselves to be clever on the sole basis of their intellect, that is, of their intellectual knowledge. Truly wise, however, is only the person who fulfills the laws of God. Many who consider themselves wise and clever because of their intellect have made a wasteland of the earth. They do not yet recognize the powers of the Father and His Son, Christ, who I am. Those powers which are becoming more and more effective through sons and daughters of God in the earthly garment, and which are changing the world. These forces of the universe are still hidden from those who keep their heart closed to the meaning of life. They still think that they have to accomplish what corresponds to their mental faculties and which they therefore hold to be correct and essential. In so doing, they believe that they have to give expression to their wisdom and cleverness. You people in the emerging and growing kingdom of peace of Jesus Christ, who will possess the earth evermore in the coming generations, recognize up until the full unfoldment of the kingdom of peace, worldly-oriented people will eagerly join forces again and again in order to fight against the works of the Lord. Many of them do not realize that they are already irradiated, that is, blinded, by the light of the truth. Unconsciously and seized by slavish zeal, they react as the demons inspire them to do and fight against the light. To my own of the present time, who strive for the path to the true wisdom of God, I say, remain true. For the time has dawned in which I, Christ, suffuse with divine love and wisdom the people who are of good will more and more, and make them into true instruments of God. The path to the heart of God, which I set forth in the Sermon on the Mount and explained, supplemented and deepened in many revelations, is the path to the love and wisdom of God, to the true humanity. Do grasp this in today's time. The people in all the developmental stages of the kingdom of peace, the kingdom of God on earth, should also know this, so that they can realize that already in today's time I was with my own more intensely, that I schooled and guided them.
In the Gospel, Jesus of Nazareth speaks the following words. Everything is entrusted to me by my Father, and no one but the Father knows the Son, and no one but the Son and the one to whom the Son will reveal it knows who the Father is. Christ explains, corrects, and deepens the word. Everything is entrusted to me by my Father. I am the Father's first beheld and firstborn Son, the co-regent of the heavens. I am omnipresent in the four powers of creation, the four natures of God, order, will, wisdom, and earnestness. My spiritual heritage flows in these four nature streams. In the four powers of creation, it is the radiation of omnipresence in the primordial principle, God. Thus, I am God in the creation spirit of the Father in the four natures, order, will, wisdom, and earnestness. The three natures and attributes of God, patience, love, and mercy, are the filiation attributes. In them, I am the son among all the sons and daughters of God. God means highest omnipresent energy, which brought and brings forth everything, and which is from eternity to eternity. From this omnipresent energy, the eternally flowing primordial potential, the Spirit, I removed a great part of my spiritual heritage and implanted it as sparks into the souls that had burdened themselves, by disregarding the law in the three attributes and in the four natures of God, which, when considered as a whole, are the seven basic powers of creation. The life force of these burdened souls has thus been transformed down to the four lower fall domains. These four lower fall domains became planes of purification after my "it is finished." Since the "it is finished," the spark of redemption is security and support for the fallen souls, so that their spirit substance does not dissolve into the eternal flowing Spirit. For in the first fall thought lay the desire to dissolve all spiritual forms. With this, the unlawful beings wanted to bring about a new beginning of creation. The Eternal Father, whose Son I am, entrusted me with the power to accomplish what lies in His will, in the eternal law, to maintain all being as a whole. Through the Redeemer deed, each heavenly burdened soul received a spark of redemption. With it, the soul is supported, thus excluding the possibility that it would dissolve in the omnipresent Spirit, the stream of God, and would merge into it as flowing energy. Through redemption, the soul becomes the spirit being once again and remains the child of God in spirit form. Had I not removed my heritage and given it to the children of the fall as support and power of development, many spirit bodies would have dissolved as a result of the increasingly growing burdens. Thus, the equilibrium of creation would have come out of balance, and the dissolution of all spiritual forms would have been the inevitable result.
Through the prophetic word of Gabriele, the Spirit of the Christ of God continues to reveal the following. And so it is given to me by the Father to act as Redeemer for all deeply fallen souls and people, and to lead these, His children, back to His heart again. I remain, therefore, the Redeemer for each soul until it has overcome the four planes of purification. When the soul has activated these four divine rays of consciousness, it will be attracted by the three planes of attributes, the planes of preparation, also called planes of unfoldment to the Absolute, which are the filiation powers of the Father-Mother principle. In these three planes of attributes, the spirit being incoming activates again the entire radiation law, the eternal primordial law. When the entire primordial law is again active in the spirit body, the pure being enters again into the absoluteness, into the eternal being. When the soul on the path to perfection has developed the fourth plane of purification, the consciousness of divine earnestness, redemption is accomplished in that soul. The part of my heritage, which, as spark of redemption, has supported, upheld, and guided the soul, then returns to the primordial power, to the all-power. On the path to the absoluteness, through the three planes of preparation, the spirit being, in coming, then accepts consciously the filiation of God once again. As Jesus of Nazareth, I could not yet teach in all its details about the Redeemer deed, about the outflow of my heritage, because I had not yet accomplished the work of redemption. My heritage was still in the primordial law. At my baptism in the Jordan River by John the Baptist, when the Spirit came over me in the symbol of the dove, my heritage in the primordial law became more strongly active. On Golgotha, with my words, "It is finished," it flowed out and divided into spiritual sparks. Every deeply fallen soul received from it the support, the spark of redemption. The meaning of the statement, "No one but the Father knows the Son," is the following. The person whose thinking is only human and who regards and acknowledges matter as the only reality does not feel the Spirit of the Eternal Father in himself. Only the one who knows himself as a child of God, because he fulfills the laws of love, also feels the Father, the life, in himself. Thus, the Father can be felt only by those who actualize the law of love, which I taught as Jesus of Nazareth, and reveal and teach as the Christ of God to those who love God more than this world. Dear viewers, dear listeners, that was a reading from the great work of Revelation, This is My Word, Alpha and Omega, the Gospel of Jesus, the Christ revelation which true Christians the world over have come to know. For today, we take our leave of you. Thank you for listening, and we will be glad to greet you again at our next reading. We wish you blessed days ahead. Goodbye, and greetings in God.